Well, our story really begins out of a discipleship training program, and our son's story and our own personal history of being called, really feeling God call us to start a military ministry. I think we had not resisted it, but thought, why on earth would we start a military ministry in Houston, Texas? Why would you do that? Fort Hood was 2.5 hours away, but once we lived through some things, especially with our son's first deployment, we knew that we needed to get involved. God wanted us to be involved some way. We prayed a lot and asked people to pray with us and for us. Had a prayer shield of people that really kind of laid the groundwork before us, and we just initially sort of sought out, what we should do. Ultimately, we ended up having a luncheon at church and invited anybody who was interested in serving the military community. That was the topic. We told them our story and told them why we were doing it, and we told them then, we said, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what it looks like. We have no idea what next month will bring, but we want to serve, and we're willing to do whatever we can think of, wherever God leads us, we're willing to serve. And so we had about 15 to 20 core volunteers that came on board with us at that point, and together we began to seek God for where He would lead us to go and serve and connect, and started doing everything from visiting the vet centers to calling a chaplain direct at a local reserve unit, even working with our son's unit at Fort Hood, trying to just figure out where we could begin to make a difference. It's a really amazing story of God inspiring you in an unusual way, but one of the key parts to that was that you did something and you didn't stop with just you. You realized there were other people who could benefit from doing that, and invited them.
One day, a friend of mine from church, he came to me and he said that his son was having some problems with PTSD. This man had never been in the military and really didn't know what was going on with PTSD, but he heard that I had PTSD, so he was seeking a little help. And he had this book called the Combat Trauma Healing Manual, and he wanted to know if I felt that would be helpful. So I look at this book and I'm like, yeah, great, thanks, Jeff. About a month later, I just had an overwhelming feeling to call Jeff. I was still having every problem in the book with my unresolved combat trauma, and we go out to lunch the next day, and Jeff and I are talking. In that short conversation, in that short lunch, I had received more help than all the help I'd received before from all the other counseling and everything I'd been through. And I begged Jeff to take me through this book, to go through it with me. And again, Jeff had never had any experience in working with the military or anything. His son had joined, but he personally didn't know very much about it. So he agreed to do so. Well, the first time we sat down and we met, about 30 minutes into it, I'm saying, hey, I know somebody this can help. Can he come the next time? And Jeff said, yeah, sure. Next week we have 2 of us. The next week we have 4. The next week we have 8. And it just kept going on and on and on. And more and more groups were growing. Jeff was helping me do all these things. We got some contacts with the military ministry and went through prayer meetings and the like, found even more people that were interested in helping the military, reaching out to helping those suffering from PTSD. Now we have groups all over Arizona that are meeting weekly and getting the healing that they needed from this process. We have an internet radio show. It's just going out and doing stuff, letting the Holy Spirit guide you. God will put people in front of you. Get a hold of them, and if you pray on it, you can make it happen.
But we do what we can, to serve those around us, and we've got for example, a Navy family in our church who's getting ready to deploy, and so our job is to support that family while he's gone, and we've ministered with them before, and we'll be there with the wife and certainly pray for him during, and then help them with reintegration when he comes back. So,
well, it sounds like there was a lot of focus and prayer to get you going in this process, and I know that was something that we also looked at greatly, is relying on God to guide us and not doing it ourselves, but just turning it over to Him and letting Him take it from there.
Talk about the solas, just their role with us.
I'd rather talk about something else. What I would like to say is there are so many ways to serve in a military ministry. What your ministry focuses on is something different than ours would or that yours would. And it takes all kinds, and it takes all talents, and it takes everyone to sign up and just get involved. Jeff and I personally want to be a part of the groups. We want to be hands-on. That's what we like to do, but that's not what everybody in our group does. There's different levels of commitment, and it works. What might fit your community and work with your people, then that's what the Lord has for you to do.